So we've looked at bioethanol, we've looked at biodiesel. Okay, got that. And now we'll look at biogas. Right, so biogas, anaerobic digestion, variety of biological materials. So manure, sewage, domestic waste. So we can put biogas mining facilities in rubbish plants and landfill. Right, essentially stick a giant pipe down into the landfill, collect off the biogas that's coming off. Right? It's all buried underground. There's low amounts of oxygen, so it makes sense that it's anaerobic. Large amounts of energy there, huge amounts of heat, right? You open up a bin that's been sitting there for a while, or anyone got compost at home? Right? You open it up, you feel the heat coming off it, yeah? So exothermic reaction as the compounds within the waste products are breaking down. The smell that comes from decomposition is largely from small alkyl chain aldehydes and ketones. We'll talk about that, aldehydes and ketones, in Unit 4. Okay, so biogas is predominantly methane. Yeah, so just like natural gas, biogas is also predominantly methane. It's got other bits like carbon dioxide and stuff as well, but mainly methane as well. Right, don't really need to know the actual process so much, but here's a general flowchart. Organic material in the feedstock. So in general terms, we need to know what the source of biofuels come from. Right, so the source of fossil fuels, decomposing terrestrial and marine organisms, right, over geological time frame. The source of biodiesel is largely from oil-based crops, right? So canola oil in particular, or bioethanol is largely from grain-style materials, or just if we want to think about it as plant materials. Biogas is from sort of other forms of decomposition. So we get organic materials, use anaerobic bacteria, gives us organic acids, use methanogenic bacteria, so methano, think methyl, right? Methane, methanogenic, methane generating bacteria. Right, so think about that like an antigen. Antigen is an antibody generator. So methanogenic is methane generating bacteria. Gives us biogas and unwanted byproducts. We call that sludge. Biogas use, like we use any fuel, mainly for electricity, household heating, cooking. Methane's difficult to compress, so it makes storage and transport difficult. Yeah, so if we're going to burn it, we're likely to burn it at the site in which we are producing it. So we're not likely to use biogas as a transport fuel. We're going to use bioethanol, biodiesel, things that are more easy to transport. Electricity, same idea with almost any electricity production. We burn it, boil water to steam, steam operates the turbines, turbines gives us our electricity. Not going to worry about that activity. Let's move on to the question. Methane, 2014 exam. Obtained from a number of different sources, major component of natural gas, trapped in coal. It's called coal seam gas. We talked about that from a fracking point of view. Can be extracted by a process known as fracking. Methane also produces microbial decomposition of plant and animal materials. In addition, large reserves of methane were trapped in ice as methane hydrate in the ocean depths long ago. Methane is a renewable energy source when it's obtained from what? Natural gas, coal seam gas, methane hydrate, or microbial decomposition. Which of those? Who says A? Who says B? Who says C? Who says D? Who abstains and gets nothing? Okay, 75%, pretty good. Yeah? I guess the idea of natural gas, we've got to note that it's not from a renewable source, even though we call it natural. Coal seam gas, right? Obvious issues with that. Methane hydrate, we think, oh yeah, we're just collecting it from the ice, but still it's trapped over geological time. That's the issue. So we want renewable microbial decomposition. Okay, here we go. Quite a tricky mole ratio question, and it's only a multiple choice. Biogas can be generated as a byproduct of many farming activities, wastewater containing sugars such as glucose converted to methane. Simplified sequence given below. Fermentation, oxidation, neutralization, and bacterial conversion. The ratio of the volume of methane produced to the volume of carbon dioxide produced is what? So, here's my tip, right? This is essentially Avogadro's law. If we consider the pressure and temperature to remain constant, then volume is directly proportional to number of mole, right? So we're looking at number of mole or volume. So volume, stoichiometry. So if we want the volume of methane produced to carbon dioxide produced, find where methane is and find where carbon dioxide is, add them together and find the lowest ratio. The disadvantage of biochemical fuels is that lower energy. Whilst there's validity in this, comparing methanol with methane doesn't necessarily hold compared with biochemical over brown coal. So, interesting things to consider. All right, and I'll leave it there for today. Okay, so you can continue on with either text or continue on working on your practice responses and so on.